This is a free download of the FM104 Phone Show, Ireland's #1 late-night radio show with Adrian Kennedy.
Now, last night on the programme, we just very briefly touched on our next subject when it was stated on this programme that people who dress in women's clothes are a bit warped in the head. Well, we read up on this today, and apparently a sizable proportion of the transvestite community in Ireland consists of straight men, many married. Others are bisexual. And I know, even as I'm talking about this, I'm touching a raw nerve with some people. And I'd love you to have the bottle to pick up the phone and share your experiences with us. 6797104 is our number. Among married transvestites, many cross-dress secretly. Their wives and families know nothing. Doctors, IT consultants, taxi drivers, builders, lawyers aged between 18 and 70. Cross-dressing crosses all ages and social barriers. Now, for some transvestites, dressing in women's underwear and clothes does involve a sexual charge. For some, it's an expression of their feminine side. After last night's conversation, I got this email from a chap called Brian, who also calls himself Sarah when he dresses up. He says, I'm a regular guy with a fiancé and a daughter, but I absolutely love dressing up in ladies' clothes and looking and feeling feminine. It's a way of escaping the problems of being me in everyday life, and I love the attention I get from the photos I take and put up online of me looking like a girl. It's very difficult to explain, but it's because it's not widely accepted that it makes it difficult for people to come out and admit that it's something they like to do. I'm 100% straight and love being with women and would never have any intention of being any other way. And that's from somebody who signs his name Sarah and then in brackets Brian. And I'd love to hear from you on this. 6797104 is our number. You can text us on 53104 and you can contact us on Twitter. FM104 Phone Show is where you'll find us on Twitter. Now, Claire, you're on FM104. How are you, Claire?
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Now, your partner is a cross-dresser.
Yes, yeah.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, it's 9 years into the relationship now. But the first time I met him, we went out together. Lovely man. Got on very well together.
Mm-hmm.
Very caring person. And we built a relationship for 2 years. He got to meet my kids, everything. But one night we went for a meal, and he told me out straight. I was horrified and shocked, and I ran.
You ran?
Didn't want to know him.
So how did he even break it to you? How did he even...
He started talking about when he worked in England, about he was a DJ, and all the drag shows. You know, and I'm not, I always thought I wasn't judgmental, no more than he is. But but the music scene, whatever, and that was okay. But he just told me out straight, and I ran. I was shocked.
And what did he say? That I like to dress in women's clothes?
Yeah.
Just like that?
Yeah.
And yeah, I can imagine. The way this conversation came up last night was a girl telling us her story of how she met a guy online and got talking to him online. Seemed like a really genuine, decent bloke. Yeah. She only ever saw headshots of him on photographs. And then when she met him in town one night, the first time she ever met him, he turned up in women's clothes. She nearly passed away peacefully.
Well, he didn't. So
So okay, you ran away. Then what?
Oh, he cried and I cried and I ran. Didn't want to know him anymore. I was so shocked. Like I thought I was open-minded. Catholic school, you know yourself. But I thought more about it then after a while. About 6 months, think about it. And I thought about his qualities as a person. And very much a manly man. Very much.
Very much a manly man?
A very caring person. So I
but sorry, very much a manly man?
Very much, in every way.
How can you be a manly man and dress like a woman?
Well, some people think that they're not. Because they're very caring for women.
Okay, so go on anyway. So you got this initial... and in fairness, he was honest enough to tell you, which is, decent enough of him.
He was, yeah.
He spilled the beans. He told you all about it. You ran, and you obviously gave it a bit of thought then, did you?
I had to. I was shy. Now, it took me a bit of a while. I didn't want to know. I thought he was a freak, all this, that, the other. You know, to me, transvestites about gay men and drag shows and all this kind of stuff.
And from what I was reading today, that couldn't be further from the truth.
True, yeah. But in ordinary everyday life, you don't be thinking of men dressing in women's clothes. But no, seriously, I gave it a bit of thought then, and then I missed him because we had a good relationship, very good relationship, and I rang him anyway. So we spoke about it more, but I'm still a little bit taboo about it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's his own privacy, in one way.
So you got back together with him?
I did, yeah.
And you're with him 9 years on?
9 years on. Now, he did dress in front of me.
And how did you feel about that?
I kind of laughed. I thought it was so funny, because he actually looked lovely. But we just dressed up and had it, whatever. But I don't want him to do that in front of me. I like him to keep that aside of me.
So when does he get to do it?
Probably privately in his own home or whatever. We don't live together.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if he's at home watching the telly dressed up as a woman,
I never ask him.
You never ask him?
No.
So do you know if he goes out to clubs or...
No, not in Ireland.
Oh, not in Ireland?
Oh, he'd be terrified.
But he has... why? Because he'd be afraid people would see him?
No, well, the industry, they could be beaten up or something.
So you're one of the few people then that know about this, are you?
Maybe one or two. My family knows about it. That's about it.
And how do they feel about it?
Well, they told me that was his business.
You're all very understanding.
Well, I don't know whether they were or not. I probably shocked them, but they liked him anyway.
So they're able to see him as a person, as a nice, decent bloke, and able to look past the fact that he dresses up in women's clothes.
Yeah, but I don't think they want to know about that either. You know what I mean?
Okay, but is it never on your mind that he's at home some night and he's sitting there in a dress?
No, I don't think about it anymore.
You don't?
No, we don't talk. Well, we don't. It's his own private business.
And has he ever explained to you why he likes to do it?
Yes, yeah.
And what answers did you get?
I'm a bit of a psychoanalyst.
Pardon me?
I'm a bit of a psychoanalyst.
Yeah, so what answers did you get?
Well, since the age of about 7 or 8, he liked women's clothes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a bit of problems in his life, family problems. And I think maybe, well, I shouldn't think anything. My thing would be because of issues in his life. It could have been escapism. But I could be very wrong. That's only my view.
But you've gotten your head around it now. You don't see him as being a weirdo anymore, no?
No, Jesus, no. Not in any way.
All right, stay there for 1 second, because Michelle, you actually broke up with your fella over this.
Hey, Adrian.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Yeah, it's I was in a long-term relationship for over 12 years, and we had our own house and we had our own mortgage and everything was fine. And we moved in together, and everything was grand. And then after about 6 years, I became pregnant, but unfortunately I lost it. And it was just as well, because I discovered one day we had a 3-bedroom house, and I was doing tidying out, and I was getting all rid of my wardrobe, cleaning out my drawers and everything. And I was noticing that my clothes were going missing. And I was baffled. I was saying, did you leave the bag out, for the rubbish man that come around? And he was like, no. So one day I did go into work and I came home sick. And I found my boyfriend dressed up. He had his bedroom locked. And he went into our bedroom and he was dressed up as a feminine woman.
Right, in your clothes?
In my clothes that I was getting rid of to give out to the homeless or give out to these people in need.
So he took your second-hand discarded clothes and was wearing them?
Was wearing them when I wasn't there, because he thought I went to work for 8 hours. But one day, unfortunately, I felt unsick, so I had to come home after about 3 hours. And I came in and I was wondering why the bedroom was locked, because that's where we usually slept. And when I did get the spare key cut and went there, and there he was dressed up in my clothes that I had bagging to be given out, which was all feminine girl stuff. And
your reaction was obviously to flip the lid, was it?
Oh my God, you've no reaction. Yeah, I fumed and I quizzed, and he was dressed up all just like myself, but he had the man's you know what. But he was lying there just all lady out in his bed with his telly going, his lipstick, half my clothing wearing. and I just flipped the lid, and there was absolutely chaos.
Did he try to even explain it, or did he just... well, he obviously nearly passed away when you caught him.
Yeah, when I caught him then, he just froze, and he just said, listen, I have to go. Listen, I have to go. And he was gone out the door like a light. He was gone. He took everything, and we had him...
And have you seen him since?
Yeah, I've seen him over a couple of years, and he's rang and he's text, and I said, what was the problem? He said, yeah, he said, I'm into this. I'm into dirty girl stuff. When I used to go to Penny's at Christmas time, he used to always come into the feminine lingerie department with me, and I was like, no, most fellas wait outside. But he was saying, try this bra, and try this bra, and try this knickers, and try these tongs. So I should have known by then, you know.
All right, so you finished with him. You never wanted to see him again?
Well, I did as a friend, because we were very good friends.
Right, but that's all it's ever been ever since?
That's all it's ever been, and it's just unfortunate the way he came out, and he told me, yes, I go into these parties, I go into the George, and I was saying, are you gay? Are you a transvestite? What are you? And he was saying, I really don't know. He said, it's a bit complicated. I really don't know where I am.
Okay, well, stay there for 1 second. Claire and Michelle. Now, Dominic, you say you're a man in your 50s who likes to dress up.
That's right, Adrian. I've dressed up in female clothing since I was a young boy. It's something that's been a big part of my life. Admittedly, a secret part of my life. You know, my wife doesn't know that I do these things, but you know, I'm not having affairs. I'm not sleeping around. I'm not, as I say, I'm not attracted to men at all. It's just something that I need in my life. Some people need, you know, different, you know, some people need to drink a lot, some people need to smoke a lot. It's something that I need. I need to wear ladies' clothing to make me feel whole as a person. It's something
to make you feel whole as a person?
Yeah, it's something. It's very hard to explain, Adrian, unless unless you're a person like myself, like a cross-dresser. Other cross-dressers will tell you, of course, the same thing I'm telling you. It makes them feel whole as a person.
Now, you say you're in your 50s, you're married. I assume have you children?
I have 2 grown children, yeah.
You have 2 grown children, okay. And none of your family would have any idea about this?
No, this is a very secret part of my life.
Okay, now, how do you, for want of a better word, practice this? I mean, when do you get the opportunity to dress?
Well, obviously, Adrian, you must be very discreet, because, I mean, my wife would be quite a conservative person, and she wouldn't understand this at all. There are clubs, there are many other ways online of contacting people who are in the same boat as myself. There are many married men in the country who, as you've already heard from your previous callers, who are in the same boat as me. And we have meetings, we have clubs. There's a club which I go to every fortnight. Mm-hmm. And we can relax in you know, I have an alter ego, like most cross-dressers have. My alter ego is called Nicola. And whereas I'm quite a shy person, she'd be quite vivacious and outgoing and bubbly and you know, loves the attention. So we meet in different venues, and there are clubs around who cater for people like me. And we can
but again, your wife has no idea about this. We heard from Claire. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Now, Claire, you obviously nearly passed away peacefully when he told you at the start, but Claire is still with her partner, Dominic. Is it not something you could ever see yourself telling your wife?
No, she's, as I say, Adrian, my wife would be a very conservative person. You know, she goes to mass and all these things, and she just wouldn't understand this. It'd be a bridge too far for her. And I love her. I do love her dearly. I don't want to lose her. So this is a secret part of my life, a part of me which is for me. And I'm a good provider for my children. I've been a good husband, I believe. We have a reasonably healthy sex life, despite my own fetishes and things. But I am 100% straight.
But are you living a lie?
Well, I suppose you could, if you want to see it that way, Adrian, I suppose you could say I am living a lie. But I mean, as I say, I don't think I'm doing anybody any harm.
No, I didn't say you were doing anybody any harm. Claire, what do you make of this? He's never told his wife. I assume you're married to your wife 20, 30 years, are you?
Longer, Adrian, longer, yeah.
How
I mean, we're married since my late teens, in fact. So a long time. We've known each other a long time.
Right. Sorry, go on, Claire.
Sorry, how could a person 30 years ago talk about that? Sure,
No, you probably couldn't have 30 years ago, but, it's not 30 years ago now.
Couldn't even talk about being gay 30 years ago, never mind 10 years ago.
So can you understand why this man has kept it to himself all this time?
Of course, and many men are still keeping it secret. They have to. I mean, we're only opening up to gay people now in the last couple of years.
Michelle, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Well, Michelle, what do you make of what you've heard from Dominic?
I don't think very much from him, to be honest. And that was a girl there. I don't think that she can put it up for so long, because I knew after maybe a couple of months, a year or two, I knew, and I put it to him, and he was like, yes, okay, I'm caught. What you want to do? And I was like, we're supposed to be a family member, and I'm after losing a child over you, and you want my child. Just well, I lost that child, because if I brought my child, how would I explain to my child that their dad is a crossdresser? And he was like, okay. So,
and do you find it a bit sick in the head?
Yes, I think it's very sick. I mean, there's enough female and males out there for everybody, Adrian.
Well, now there you go, Dominic. What you're doing is a little bit sick, especially the secret life that you're leading.
Yeah.
Well, Adrian, I mean, that lady, of course, everybody has different opinions on this subject. It's a very sensitive issue, and I'm glad you brought it up. But for me personally, as I say, I don't think I'm doing any harm to anybody else. I'm certainly not carrying on with any other women or having an affair with my wife. It's just part of it.
You're doing it in secret, Damien.
I know, but
very unfair.
I don't.
You're
Well, I
not
mean,
doing it on your wife or your family. You're doing it in secret for yourself.
But it's something. It's something that do you understand? It's something that I need to do. I need to do this. I'd be totally miserable as a person if I didn't have this outlet. I need to have this in my life.
I mean, come on, you're 50 years of age, Adrian.
Dominic is his name.
You're a grown man, older than my father. I mean, you have your rights and your wrongs. You're 50 odd years of age. You need the same age as my father, and you don't know whether you can come out or tell this or tell. I pulled it up a couple of years ago when I was 27 years of age. So let me 50 years of age and they're still hiding this is ridiculous.
Well, I say that's your opinion, of course, but it's just, as I say, I don't want to lose my wife, and we apart from this, we have.
And you obviously believe that you would lose her, just like Michelle. She would dump you like there's no tomorrow if she found out this.
She wouldn't. As I say, she's a very conservative lady. She would not understand this at all.
Just like Michelle doesn't.
Yeah, and listen, and Michelle, of course, is entitled to her opinion, but it's something, as I said, I've been doing this as a young boy.
But hearing somebody like Michelle speak obviously convinces you that you're doing the right thing by not telling your wife, does it?
Well, I don't like, obviously, in an ideal world, I don't like deceiving her, but it's the best I can do in the situation that I'm in.
And do you mind me asking then, how do you get away with it, if for want of a better word? Where does she think you're going? How does she not?
Can I just bunt in there for a second?
Yeah, go on, yeah.
Yeah, it must be a very small house that to live in. I had a 3-bedroom house.
But do you ever do it at home, Dominic?
Well, if I do, Adrian, if I do, I lock myself in and I make sure that my wife has gone away for a number of hours. I'm very discreet. I've always been very discreet about this.
But does she not have suspicions you're up to no good?
No, well, I mean, again, you're using terms there as if I'm doing something wrong, something of a deviant nature. I don't believe I am a deviant. I believe that I'm a good father, a good provider, a good husband. This is just a little.
You're a good father and you're a good husband. You should be most honest to your wife.
But hang on, Michelle. You're living proof that if you're honest, or if you reveal this sort of information, she might run a mile. After all those years of marriage.
And that's why he's afraid of Adrian.
I am. I admit that. Absolutely, I'm afraid of that. And I don't want that to happen because I love my wife. Despite this, I love my wife dearly.
Sorry, can I interrupt there? I didn't want it to happen either. I'm only a 27-year-old. My fella's only 28 years of age. We were buying a mortgage. I didn't want this to happen either. We had our whole life ahead of us. I couldn't believe that this was happening, no more than he could believe it was happening. We had our whole life, double your age, ahead of us. We had our mortgage, we had everything going for us. But unfortunately, we had to come to terms and be honest with each other.
And you found out this about him, and that was the end of that relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, stay there for 1 second, both of you. 6797104 is our telephone number if you want to get involved in this. So far, we've spoken to a woman whose partner is a cross-dresser, and much in all, she found it very difficult at the start. She came to terms with it. We've spoken to Michelle. When she found out her partner was a cross-dresser, she ran a mile. And we're talking to Dominic, who's in his 50s. He dresses as a woman, but nobody knows. Sorry, Dominic, the question I wanted to ask you is, in terms of going to clubs and stuff like that, are you never worried you'll be seen by somebody you know, or...
Well, I'm living in Kildare, Adrian, and it's a quite, I'm very discreet about what I do, and we wouldn't be big socialisers, my wife and I, anyway. So we wouldn't be that well known. We're known to a degree, but we keep ourselves to ourselves. So no, I mean, when I do this, I'm very discreet, and I come to Dublin, and there are certain places where, as I say, I can meet people like myself, and we can relax as our...
Okay, stay there for 1 second. I'd like to hear from you. 6797104. Should somebody like Dominic, in his 50s, tell his wife and kids? Have they a right to know? Or is he entitled to have this private bit of his life? He says it doesn't involve sex. He's not interested in men. He just does what he does. He likes to dress as a woman. David, you're on FM104. How are you, David?
How are you, Adrian? How are you?
Grand, thanks, David.
The only time I actually dressed up as a woman, there was a girl here. I live in Crumlin, by the way.
Yeah.
I dressed up in her knickers and bra, and she thought it was really funny. She took a photograph of me. I said, don't put it on Facebook, whatever you do. I'll make it right, show me. But then I only done it for a bit of fun because I'm heterosexual as well.
Right, so it's just, what, you were drunk one night, or...?
Kind of erotic. I don't know. I thought she'd find it funny, and she did.
Right. And did you get a kick out of it?
I did, actually. I thought I was bleeding gas, but and the next morning, I suppose I had a couple of drinks on me, to be honest with you. And the next thing I thought, oh my God, did you take a photograph of me last night? Janie, I had her knickers and brown on me. And I thought it was erotic in a sense, because the two of us were having sex, basically, because she's a woman and I'm a man. Mm. What can I say?
And would you ever like to do it again?
Well, I don't know. I never really thought about it. It's only because you brought up the conversation. It was not something. It's not something I thought about. It's something on the spur of the moment. I suppose that's like playing games with a woman. I mean, I wouldn't do it with a man. Don't get me wrong. Obviously not. But I mean, no, she seemed to think I was a joke. She was breaking her shite laughing. Is there something wrong with her?
And let me ask you, what could you ever see yourself like wanting to dress as a woman on a regular basis?
No, I find that very funny because there was a bloke called, we used to call him, he was on the night bus, he was a homeless bloke. Jared was his real name, but we used to call him, I don't know, and we were on the night in the homeless, like, and everyone slagged him because he was from Tipperary, and he dressed up as on the night bus, and all the homeless men, the alcoholics and the drug addicts, just to slag him, because he just wanted to wear lipstick and he wanted to be a woman. And the poor man died of a heart attack. I don't know how he put up with it, but he seemed to be a very ordinary transvestite, all right? And yeah, I said...
And what, you've heard Dominic's story. The man's in his 50s. Should he be telling his wife at this age in his life that this is what he likes to do?
Well, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything about gay marriage or anything. Well, that's another story. I think people, if they want to express themselves, it's on the individual basis. I think anyone wants to do, but I don't necessarily dress up.
But
by telling his wife, I'm sorry, Dominic, this is something you've always done, is it?
So since I was a child, Adrian, I had a taste for this when wearing my sister's clothing as a child, and again, it was seen by my family as a harmless bit of fun. But I had a real draw to doing it, and it's been a part of my life ever since. And I say it's something that I need to fulfil me as a person. Without this, I'm not the whole person. I need this in my life, and as I say, I don't think I do.
But the whole notion, the whole idea of telling your wife, you just know it would backfire on you. You just know she wouldn't be able to take this on board.
If I thought for a minute, Adrian, that she was a kind of, a very kind of open-minded person, I might consider that very strongly, but she isn't. And I don't want to humiliate her either, And so the best thing all around is I just keep this my little secret life to myself, and I become Nicola every now and then, every week or every second week, and it fulfills me. I come back so happy. Once I've done, I had my night away. I come back very, very happy and fulfilled. And without that, I'd be absolutely miserable. I'd be so.
And in all of these years, you've never met somebody who knows you, or bumped into somebody, or somebody found out? Nobody has ever found out, no?
I wouldn't be. When we meet at our club, I mean, I'd be getting a taxi there obviously in my alter ego's clothing, but I wouldn't be walking around the streets, trying to get attention. I don't do that. We're very discreet. You must be discreet in these matters. So I just say we go to the club and no.
Sorry, in the club, many of the men are in the exact same situation as you, are they?
Nearly 80% would be married men like myself, different age groups, different social backgrounds. It's amazing. I mean, the people and again, like myself, these men need this in their lives. And
let me ask you, Dominic, is it a sexual thing? Do you get sexually turned on by being dressed as a woman?
I do. I do find it very exciting.
And still, after all these years?
Oh God, yeah, even more so, because I feel I've really grown into Nicola. I've really become her as the years have progressed, And
like when you're dressed as a woman, do you put on a woman's voice, or how does that work?
Yeah, I do. I speak in a feminine voice. As I say, Nicola, unlike myself, would be very outgoing and vivacious and bubbly. Whereas I'm quite a reserved person. So when I become her, I go the whole hog, and she more or less her persona takes over me, if you like, and she expresses herself in any way she sees fit. And when I remove the wig and I remove the makeup and I take off my clothes, then again I become me again, and she's put back in the closet for another 2 weeks or another week or whatever. So this is how it's been for many years of my life. And
does it sadden you that it's such a secret part of your life, or is that part of the excitement?
That's a very good question, Adrian. A very good question. I mean, I do get excited by it. I mean, I do get a lot of gratification out of it, and by wearing ladies' clothing. But in a perfect world, I'd love to be able to be open about it and be more open and not be worried about being beaten up by somebody in the street or my wife leaving me. So, given the choice, I'd rather it was out in the open.
You'd rather have it out in the open. All right. Now, Dan, you're on FM104. How are you, Dan?
Not too bad, Adrian.
Good, Dan. Now, you believe that people like Dominic need therapy?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Well, basically, the way he's going on it sounds like he's not comfortable in his own body, and he's not comfortable with who he is. So it sounds like there's a bit of a personality disorder going on there, and that he's not happy who he is. So I think he needs to go and get help.
Is it something you've ever thought you might need help to deal with, Dominic?
To answer your question, Adrian, to answer that man's question, I've had a lot of therapy over the years. I mean, we do, as I said, my friends who are in the same boat as myself would pass on numbers, and there are people who deal with these issues, cross-dressing issues, And
so you have actually had therapy. I mean, the argument here, Dan, is he's not doing any harm to anybody.
He's doing harm to himself.
How?
It's affecting himself. It's affecting his basically the fact that he's been doing this for years and keeping it a secret, and one of these days it can actually come out. The secret can come out, and so he's doing himself harm mentally, and he's also risking the family life.
Do you think you're doing yourself harm, Dominic?
I don't think so, Adrian. I don't see it any harm at all. It's just something, it's a fetish, if you like, that I need in my life. I get a lot of satisfaction from doing it. It's something that I need. And, I mean, apart from that, I live a very normal life. I work, and I say with 2 grown children. I've provided for them over the years, and my wife have a nice home. We go on holidays. I mean, apart from this, I have a very normal existence. But this is just something that I need, a private thing for me. Do you understand? There's some people.
Are we not all entitled to our little bit of privacy, Dan? Or Dan?
Adrian, go now. Dressed as someone called Nicola with an entirely different personality is not normal. it's not a fetish. It's a personality disorder, and it's something that you would go and get help and try to.
But you've already said, Dominic, that you have had counselling or therapy or whatever. Yeah. And what did you learn? That this is what you do is perfectly normal, or what?
Well, for years I had a lot of guilt about this, Adrian, but I no longer have any guilt about it. I was told to accept what I am, and we come in all shapes and sizes and beliefs and wants and needs, and this is something that I need. And I stopped beating myself up about this many years ago. I used to be very guilty and I hated myself and all that, but not anymore. You know, I allow myself this. That's what I learned first and foremost. And I don't have multiple personalities. This is the only person. Nicola's the only person who I become. You know, and when she wants to express herself, it makes me very happy.
That's still multiple personality. It's you and Nicola. That's still
okay. Well. I mean, if that's how you choose to see that, I mean, it's not. I mean, I learned to accept this many years ago, and I learned during my years of counselling. I learned that. You know, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not hurting anybody. So, I mean, there's no harm being done here as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, I mean, well, in terms of harm, Dan, there isn't any harm being caused to anybody. Let's be honest about it. Obviously, there would be a bit of emotional harm if his wife were to find out and be distressed by it. But in terms of actual harm, he's doing no harm to anybody putting on a dress or whatever.
No, there's potential harm in the fact that he's doing this in secret. It's not normal. And his family doesn't know about it, but there's always the potential that he can actually come out. And the fact that this has been going on, and it's...
Well, we'll stay there for a second, because, Anne, you don't feel that there's any need for somebody like Dominic to tell his wife?
No, Adrian, how you doing?
How are you?
Not too bad, Adrian. No, I don't think, but listening to Dominic there from the beginning, he sounds like a right, good, proper gentleman. And he's doing his wife and children no harm. They don't know about it. He does it in secret. But then near the end of the conversation, you asked him some kind of a question about, does he get and I might have been using the wrong word here now, a sexual
kick out of it, yeah, I did ask that, yeah.
Yes. So that made me kind of not like him a little bit then. That, and I was just wondering, as Nick is a nice name, by the way, Dominic, but however, what kind of a kick is it? Is it for the other men? Is it a sexual thing for the other trannies, I call them? Is it a sexual thing for one of the other men dressed there as women, Dominic?
No. I have no interest. I said that at the beginning of this conversation. I have no interest in other men at all.
You did say to Adrian's question that you do get excited.
Yeah, I do, and that
excitement.
But not from seeing other men in drag. You understand? I get turned on from me, this clothing being on my body.
Yes,
it's a personal gratification. It's a personal turn on for me, and that may manifest itself by perhaps masturbation, whatever. But this is a private thing, and I don't feel turned on by looking at other men who are my friends in the cross-dressing circles. I get turned on from these garments being on my body and this fabric being on my body and my skin. That's what turns me on. And
when that turns you on, what do you do about it?
Well, as I say, occasionally you might masturbate or whatever the case may be. I mean, as I say, it's a self gratification. Nobody else is involved. It's just me, and
it's just all along there. I was you're not doing any harm. You sound a good gentleman and a good husband, and father, but it's just at the very end there, I got a bit of a turn off. You'd have been Adrian after that.
Dominic, I tell you what comes across to me, and maybe I'm taking this up totally the wrong way. It seems to me a little bit sad, and what I mean sad, that there is this whole aspect of your life that you have to keep to yourself. That to me is a little bit sad.
Okay, as I say, that's how you choose to see that particular scenario. But obviously, I suppose the whole thing is tinged with sadness as regards I can't be totally open about who I am. But there you go. Life, that's the way life is. Society doesn't allow me to walk around wearing ladies' clothing without being ridiculed or without being beaten up or whatever. So the society has its own moral guidelines, and I don't fall within that. So therefore, this has to be done in secret, I'm afraid, and it has to be done with other like-minded people who can accept me for as I am, for what I am, and as I say, in an ideal world, I would rather have, I'd rather be totally open about this to everybody, but that's not the case, and the world isn't a perfect place.
Okay, stay there for a second. Catherine, you're on FM104. How are you, Catherine?
Hello, Adrian.
Now, you believe he's not being fair to his wife. Why?
Definitely not being fair. I think, Dominic, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
I think you should really come out straight and tell your wife, because I want to ask you another question. When you're in these clubs and there's a load of men dressed up as women, would you go and fancy one of them men?
No, I just explained to the previous caller that I don't find other men attractive, be they in drag or not in drag. So no, I don't. But I do certainly enjoy watching my friends being fully dressed, and we like to pass tips about what makeup you're wearing and what wigs you're wearing and where you buy your clothing. Those type of things we engage in. But there's no sexual contact between me and my other cross-dressing friends, none whatsoever.
And did you go and get help for it?
No,
He's already said that he's gone for counselling.
Yeah, many years ago.
Or therapy or whatever.
I did lots of counselling over the years, and they help me. My counsellors help me to accept what I am and to be happy as I am, rather than beat myself up about it, which is what I used to do.
So in other words, you're Dominic now, and then when you dress up, what name are you then?
I become Nicola.
Nicola. So in other words, you take the women's clothes off, you put Nicola in the wardrobe, and then you decide, okay, I'm not Dominic tonight, I'm going to be Nicola tonight.
That's right. That's more or less it. Yeah. Once her clothing is put on my body, I become Nicola, and it becomes I
think Dominic is very unfair with your wife, your poor wife. I really think she should know to do that behind her back. How would you feel if she dresses up in a men's clothes, in your clothes, behind your back, and you found out? And she's
But at this stage in our lives, I mean, if I was to lose her now in my mid-50s, apart from this, we have a very happy marriage, by the way.
Would you not just sit down some night and explain to her, and it'll make your mind eased?
Well, my mind is at ease.
It's all blocking into you.
No, my mind is at ease. As I said, I learned to deal with who I am many years ago, and I don't want to hurt anybody by me having my. What in God forbidden in years to come, God forbidden if that happened, and she found out if that happened to you, and you kept that secret behind her back. How would she feel about you then, Dominic? Well, as I say, that's another scenario, but I mean, no, at this stage in our lives, I wouldn't
like her to find out. Do you know what I mean?
My wife is a very conservative lady. She's very conservative. She would not understand this. And I'd lose her, I'd lose our marriage.
I think it'd be much better for yourself, Dominic, and your own peace of mind, to come out straight with her. And even if she walks away from you.
Yeah, but but hang on for 1 second, Catherine. It's an awful lot to lose over putting a dress on.
Pardon?
It's an awful lot to lose over putting a dress on.
It is an awful lot to lose, but I don't know why he kept it so long for those years doing that behind his wife's back. What was he afraid of? Does his mind tell him, oh God, I know I'm wrong here, so I can't tell me wife? So in one part of his mind...
Is it that you think you're doing wrong, or is it the fact that you don't believe she will ever understand?
Well, Adrian, as I explained before, I did, umpteen sessions of counselling. I had a real hang-up about this. I had such guilt about this, what I do with my life, such guilt, and indeed hatred for myself.
Don't get me wrong, I feel sorry for him underneath it all.
But I learned over the years, my counsellors learned, they got through to me eventually that, listen, you must accept who you are, and there's no point hating yourself for what you are, and you're expressing yourself, and you're not hurting anybody else intentionally. So, and I say my wife is a very, very, she's a staunch Catholic, and she wouldn't understand this. She would not understand it. I'd lose her, and my sons would be humiliated as well. They might be embarrassed by the whole thing, and it's just better that I just keep this as my own little private venture. Every week or every fortnight, and sure. I mean,
and did she ever wonder where you're going, or have you a way out? How does that work?
I work in the job. I won't say what kind of job I'm involved in, Asian, but I work where I travel quite a lot. So it's not. I have plenty of excuses to cover me there.
Okay, one last call on this. Grace, you're on FM104. How are you, Grace?
How you doing, Adrian?
Now, you wanted to talk to Dominic as well.
Yeah. Dominic, I'm just wondering, I just can't get my head around this. Where do you keep your clothes, like, you know?
Where do I keep them?
I'd be afraid that you'd find them.
Well, I keep a lot of them in my workplace, for a start. A lot of them in my workplace.
And would you not be afraid the lads would find them, or she'd, you know, if she did find them, she'd think you were having an affair?
No. My wife doesn't. She very seldom enters my workplace, so that's not going to be a problem.
So you wouldn't keep any at home, like?
No. Oh God, no, never. No.
Going out shopping that somebody might see you, you know?
No, I'd never leave my clothing at home. Also, when we have our meetings with other cross-dressers, sometimes we'll designate one person to bring the bulk of the clothing for everybody to wear. So
can I ask you this as well, right? Just say you were going out, God forbid, and you were knocked down or anything, and you were killed, say, in an accident, and you were in these clothes, like, and your son and all heard about it, and your wife. Would you not think it would be devastating for them?
Well, I mean, if I was to think that way, sure, I wouldn't cross the road. You wouldn't do anything if you think about what might happen. I can't think that way. This is just something.
And what your attitude is? You've gotten away with it this long. You may continue doing it.
It's not a question of getting away with it, Adrian. This is something that I'm trying to get through to people here tonight. It's something that I need in my life. This is a physical need that I must have in my life. Without it,
Okay, Grace, let me read a text that's just come in, and I'm surprised this hasn't been mentioned so far. Grace, hang on for 1 second. Let me read a text here, and it says, for years, women have dressed up in men's clothes, and it's okay. My wife would walk to the shop with my jeans and a top and runners. Nobody blinks an eye. What's the difference?
Adrian, but just say now, Dominic, for instance, you didn't wipe your makeup off proper, and your wife spotted it, which could happen. You mightn't get it all off, do you know what I mean? And she spotted it on your neck or something like that. You know the way women are. Would she not say, oh, were you out, you know, with somebody? Or even if you had perfume, do you use perfume?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes.
It's hard to get off. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I know, but up as far as now, I've nothing has ever happened of that nature because I'm very careful and very discreet.
Me now, I'd smell the least little thing, or you'd see a bit of makeup, or you know, I can't understand how. You know, you're getting away with it for so long.
Well, I'm as I say, I'm extremely discreet about the whole thing.
Let me ask you, Dominic, are you happy?
I'm not unhappy. I'm as happy as the next person. If I didn't have this in my life.
And does this give you extra happiness?
Oh yes, without it. This fulfills me as a person. I need this in my life.
And over all of the years that you've been married to your wife, have you ever even thrown out any feelers to gauge what a reaction would be like?
No, that wouldn't even be necessary. I know what her reaction would be. She'd absolutely be disgusted and she'd be sickened, and I know how she feels, how she reacts. No, I'd never crossed that. You know, I never even suggested anything of that nature to her.
All right, well look, I'm going to have to leave it at that. But Dominic, I really appreciate your honesty and openness with us tonight. Thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you, Adrian.
And let me read a couple of your texts. It's amazing how women just don't have any compassion for this and men do. I thought it would be the other way around, says John. Leave him alone. Them women should mind their business. So what if he doesn't tell his wife, as long as he is happy? My dad is gay, and I wish we never caught him out. Sometimes it's an easier life just not knowing. One or two more. They all sound sick to me. I think he would like to be a woman, just won't admit it. They're not the right gender. They're not the right gender. He sounds like he wants to be a woman, no matter what he says. God help us, says Rose. And one or two more. My name is Sarah and I'm 16 years old. The thought of a man in girls' clothes makes me feel sick. I've dressed my boyfriend up as a girl before for a laugh, but it scared me. Girls do wear boys' clothes, so I suppose boys can wear girls' clothes, but they should not be proud of it. And one more. If my boyfriend wanted to dress in women's clothes to feel good, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. Once it's private and wasn't in front of our child, so he wouldn't get confused. But I'd have no issue. It's not an affair or porn addiction, so why not? And that's from Ali in Coolock.